Okay, so today we're going to dive into something that is really important for, well, anyone who wants to study in an English-speaking university.
Absolutely.
And that is the TOEFL IBT writing section.
Yeah, this is where you really get to showcase your ability to use English, not just to understand, but to express your own thoughts clearly and convincingly.
It's really about showing you can handle that academic style of communication.
Right? Exactly.
So in the TOEFL IBT writing section, you actually have two different tasks you have to tackle. The first one is called the integrated writing task, and you get about 20 minutes for this one.
Right. And this one's kind of interesting. You basically have to play detective for a bit. You're given a short academic passage to read, and then you listen to a lecture that's connected to it. Maybe it presents a different viewpoint or adds some details.
Yeah, it's like they give you the pieces of a puzzle, and you have to figure out how they fit together in your response.
Exactly. You have to show you understand the relationship between the reading and the lecture.
So you're synthesizing information, which is a pretty high-level skill, right?
Definitely.
And then there's the second task, the writing for an academic discussion task.
Yes. And this one is a bit faster paced. You only have 10 minutes, and it's like being thrown into a virtual classroom.
Right. You're given a prompt, maybe a question or a statement, and you have to jump right into the discussion.
Yeah, you need to state your own opinion clearly and then back it up with solid reasons and evidence.
Just like you would in a real seminar.
Exactly.
So you have to think on your feet and make your arguments convincing.
That's the key.
So in total, the entire writing section is about 29 minutes.
Yep, and it's all typed. So make sure those keyboard skills are up to par.
Right. No handwriting here. It's all digital.
Yeah.
So how do they actually score this thing? It's not just someone casually reading through and saying, yeah, that sounds good.
No. It's a lot more systematic than that. They use what are called writing scoring guides or rubrics.
Ah, like a super detailed checklist of what makes good academic writing.
Precisely. And get this, the evaluation is done by a combination of artificial intelligence.
Oh, wow. So they're bringing in the AI.
Yep, the AI can assess certain things really efficiently. But then you also have certified human raters who look at the more nuanced aspects of the essays.
So it's like a tag team approach to make sure the scoring is as fair and thorough as possible.
Exactly.
And at the end of it all, you get a scaled section score that ranges from 0 to 30.
Right, that gives you a clear picture of how you did.
Okay, so that's the overview of the TOEFL IBT writing section. Now, for this deep dive, we're going to get really practical and look at the work of one of our learners, Suenia.
Yes, we're going to analyze her class notes and drafts of her essays to see what we can learn.
And hopefully, Suenia, you're listening, because this is going to be super helpful for you and for anyone else who wants to improve their academic writing.
Absolutely.
So, Suenia, we actually have some great news to share. Before we dive into your writing, we wanted to mention that you've been making amazing progress with your pronunciation.
It's true. In your last class, your pronunciation mistakes went down by a whopping 63%.
That is incredible, Suenia. That kind of improvement shows real dedication, so congratulations.
We're very impressed with your hard work.
Okay, so now let's shift gears and take a look at Suenia's first draft of an essay about artificial intelligence. We have it here, right?
Yes, here's what she wrote. Artificial intelligence, AI, is a kind of tool that combines many information about different topics in large scale that humans alone can't do. In my opinion, AI, there are advantages and disadvantages. Firstly, in the case of big data, it helps companies and governments organize information to support public policy decisions. Additionally, scientific institutions can benefit from it, especially public health, education, and environment, because it can organize data too, because it gathers lots of information. On the other hand, because, as it is a new tool, you don't have regulation to avoid people getting this information to do harm, such as invade people's privacy or do illegal things, this is a topic with ethical implications that society has to discuss. Therefore, AI is a pivotal and controversial question, but I think if society builds good regulations, you can take advantage of it and get good results.
Wow, Suenia, you're tackling some pretty complex ideas here. That's great. What were some of the first things that your teacher noticed in this draft?
Well, one of the main things the teacher highlighted was the importance of planning before you start writing.
So it's like having a blueprint before you start building a house.
Exactly. If you have a solid plan, it helps you structure your sentences more effectively, make sure your ideas flow smoothly, and avoid repetition.
That makes a lot of sense.
Huh.
So instead of just diving right in, you take a few minutes to organize your thoughts.
Right. Think about what you want to say and how you want to say it.
Okay, and what about the language itself? Was there anything specific that the teacher pointed out?
Yes, the teacher suggested using more precise academic vocabulary instead of more casual, everyday expressions. For example, instead of saying do illegal things, you could use a phrase like engage in illegal activities.
Yeah, that sounds a lot more formal and academic.
Right. It's about choosing words that fit the context of academic writing.
Okay, so planning and vocabulary. Now, were there any specific examples where Suenia could improve her grammar and sentence structure?
Absolutely. There were a few. Let's take the first sentence, for example. AI is a kind of tool that combines many information.
Okay, I see a couple of things there already.
Right. So first of all, AI is singular. So the verb needs to agree with it. It should be combines, not combine.
Ah, subject-verb agreement. That's a classic grammar rule.
And it's super important for clear writing.
What about many information? Did the teacher comment on that?
Yes, information is usually an uncountable noun. So instead of saying many information, you'd use a phrase like vast amounts of information.
Okay, that makes sense. And I also noticed the teacher changed a kind of tool to a powerful tool.
Exactly. That's a great way to make the writing more impactful right from the start.
So even small changes like that can really elevate the writing.
Definitely.
Okay, what about repetition? I noticed a bit of that in the first draft.
Yes, there was a phrase, because it can organize data too, because it gathers lots of information, that the teacher streamlined to as AI efficiently gathers and processes large data sets.
Wow, that's much more concise, and it uses stronger verbs too.
Exactly. Gathers and processes are more active and engaging than just organize. And data sets is a more specific and academic term.
Right, so it's not just about cutting words, but also about choosing the best words to convey your meaning.
Absolutely.
Were there any other places where word choice and clarity were addressed?
Oh, yeah, several. Especially was just a simple spelling mistake that was corrected to especially.
Those can sneak in there sometimes.
And then there was controversial question, which was changed to pivotal yet controversial issue.
Okay, so not only fixing the spelling, but also improving the phrasing.
Exactly. Pivotal really emphasizes how important the issue is. And it's a more sophisticated word choice.
I like that. What about the last suggestion in this category?
The original sentence was, if society builds good regulations, you can take advantage of it and get good results.
Yeah, that one was a bit clunky.
The teacher revised it to, with well-structured regulations, we can harness its potential responsibly and achieve meaningful progress.
Okay, that's a huge improvement.
Yeah.
It's much more formal, and the vocabulary is more precise.
Right, and notice the shift from you can to we can. It creates a sense of collective responsibility, which is often more appropriate in academic writing.
That's a subtle but important point. Okay, so we've talked about planning, vocabulary, grammar, sentence structure, word choice. What about the bigger picture stuff, like consistency and formality?
Yeah, the teacher pointed out a couple things there, too. For example, the use of you in you don't have regulation was a bit informal.
Yeah, sounds like something you'd say in everyday conversation.
Right. It was changed to there are no comprehensive regulations, which is more objective and impersonal.
And that's generally preferred style in academic writing, right?
Exactly. And then there was the phrase do harm, such as invade people's privacy or do illegal things, which was also a bit too casual.
How did the teacher revise that one?
It became misuse. Without proper oversight, individuals and organizations could exploit AI to invade privacy or engage in illegal activities.
Okay, much better.
Yeah.
Again, more formal vocabulary and a clearer explanation of the potential dangers.
Absolutely.
So it's really about aligning your writing with the conventions of academic discourse.
Absolutely.
So after giving all this feedback, the teacher actually provided a revised version of the first draft, right?
Yes. Here's the teacher's corrected version. Artificial intelligence, AI, is a powerful tool that combines vast amounts of information across different fields on a scale that humans alone cannot achieve. In my opinion, AI presents both advantages and disadvantages. Firstly, in the realm of big data, AI helps companies and governments organize information to support public policy decisions. Additionally, scientific institutions can benefit from it, especially in public health education and environmental research, as AI efficiently gathers and processes large data sets. On the other hand, since AI is still an emerging technology, there are no comprehensive regulations to prevent misuse. Without proper oversight, individuals and organizations could exploit AI to invade privacy or engage in illegal activities. This raises significant ethical concerns that society must address. Therefore, while AI is a pivotal yet controversial issue, I believe that with well-structured regulations, we can harness its potential responsibly and achieve meaningful progress.
You can really see how all the individual corrections come together to create a much stronger piece of writing.
Absolutely. It's much clearer, more precise, and more academically sound.
Okay, so Suenia then took this feedback and worked on a second draft. Let's see how she incorporated the suggestions.
Sure. Here's what she wrote. Artificial intelligence, AI, is a kind of tool that combines much information about different topics in large scale that humans alone can't do. In my opinion, there are advantages and disadvantages in using AI. Firstly, big data helps companies and governments organize information to support public policy decisions. For example, if you have a disease data set regarding COVID-19, you must gather as much as you can and as fast as you can, so to make decisions about how people have to behave in close environments and create protocols to survive until science creates a vaccine. Additionally, scientific institutions can benefit from it, especially public health education and environment, because it also can organize data and gather lots of information. World Health Organization, WHO, in order to support most countries around the world, provides reports on the spread of diseases worldwide, such as International Health Network is constantly updated on what kind of diseases are breaking out. On the other hand, because as it is a new tool, there is not enough regulation to avoid people getting this information to do harm or invade people's privacy to commit crimes. In Brazil, for example, there are laws such as identity appropriation and financial scam. Although there has been many attempts, international community should make efforts to build rules regarding data gathering and its responsible usage. A. This is a topic with ethical implications that society has to discuss. B. Society has to discuss the ethical implications related to this topic. Despite these advantages, and AI being a pivotal and controversial question, I think consider that if society has to build robust regulations so everybody can take advantage of it and get positive outcomes to support many public policies in the development of the private sector.
Okay, so she's definitely trying to use some of the vocabulary, and she's adding examples to support her points.
Yes, she's engaging with the feedback and trying to apply it.
What did the teacher think of this second draft?
Well, the teacher provided what were called enhancement insights.
So it sounds like she was on the right track, but there was still room for improvement.
Exactly. It's all part of the process of learning to write well.
Okay, and to give Suenia even more guidance, the teacher provided the beginning of a potential final version, right?
That's right. And here's the interesting part. The teacher highlighted specific vocabulary words that Suenia should try to incorporate.
Oh, so it's like a little vocabulary challenge?
Yeah, exactly. Here's what the teacher wrote. We may try to DE&Y the advantages of modern technology, but we know that as individuals, we don't have much control over it. Humans truly need to worry about it as a community. This is a topic that frequently comes up in family and academic discussions, especially as we struggle to manage natural resources. There are scientific articles questioning the ethical implications of artificial intelligence, but still we haven't seen an ultimate thesis showing how technology must serve people, not the other way around.
Okay, so those words in all caps were from the vocabulary list for that class.
Precisely. And it's a fantastic way to encourage students to actually use the new words they're learning.
I love that. It's so much better than just memorizing definitions.
Absolutely.
Okay, so stepping back and looking at Suenia's journey through these drafts, what are some key takeaways that anyone listening can use to improve their own writing?
Well, I think the first big takeaway is the importance of planning, which we talked about earlier.
Right, don't just start writing without a clear idea of what you want to say.
Take some time to brainstorm, outline your main points. Think about the structure of your essay.
It'll save you a lot of time and frustration in the long run.
Definitely. And the second big takeaway is to use precise academic vocabulary.
Yeah, your word choice matters, especially in formal writing.
Choose words that accurately convey your meaning and that fit the style of academic writing.
What else?
Clear and concise sentence structure is essential.
Right. Each sentence should have a purpose and contribute to your overall argument.
And avoid unnecessary repetition. Make your writing as impactful as possible.
And finally, the power of feedback.
Yes, seeking out feedback and then actually using it to improve your writing is so important.
It can be tough to hear criticism, but it's the best way to learn and grow as a writer.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Suenia, your homework is to take all this feedback and rewrite your essay one more time.
Yes, keep practicing, keep revising, and keep pushing yourself to improve.
And for our next linguistic focus, we're going to continue exploring TOEFL writing.
Yes, we'll dive even deeper into the strategies and techniques that can help you succeed on this section.
Excellent. This is a journey, and we're here to support you every step of the way.
That's right.
Okay, well, it's been great looking at Suenia's work and seeing how she's using feedback to improve her writing.
I agree. There are a lot of valuable lessons here for anyone preparing for the TOEFL or just wanting to become a better writer in general.
Remember, the TOEFL writing tasks are not just hurdles to jump over. They're opportunities to show off your skills and to express yourself in a powerful way.
That's a great way to think about it.
Suenia, congratulations on your amazing progress with your pronunciation. Keep up the great work with your writing, too.
Yes, we have no doubt that you'll continue to make great strides.
And on that note, we want to leave you with the motto of Academia BSB. It's not only about the language, it's all about communication.
And a huge thank you to the entire team at Academia BSB for their dedication and hard work.
Our tech team, our amazing teachers, and of course our pedagogical coordinator, Mariana Ribeiro. Thank you all for making this deep dive possible.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.